Hello, and welcome to episode 8 of the For All podcast with Great Place to Work India. Today, I have the privilege of Jayant Rastogi, Global CEO and Board Director of Magic Bus India Foundation. Jayant has been with Magic Bus for more than 9 years and has been leading the organization right from its strategy and operations to daily delivery. Jayant, before we get started, I want you to tell us what got you excited about Magic Bus when you decided to join Magic Bus 9 years back, and what does Magic Bus do for our viewers?
Thank you, Valvi, for having me on this podcast. Real honor and pleasure and privilege to be here. I'm very excited about it. And in fact, I've decided I'll learn more from great places to work than I'll speak over here. So it's also a learning session for me. Um, what got me interested? Actually, lots of things. I was on the corporate side, for almost close to 3 decades and did two technology startups. One of the technology startups that I did was actually a social entrepreneurship, not for
Hmm.
profit. And it all started because of one of the drivers that I used to have. So he was in his 20s, and I think, every month he used to fall ill.
Hmm.
And then when he used to come back, he used to say, आज मेरे को ग्लूकोज चढ़ा है और आज बहुत ताकत आ गई, बहुत अच्छा डॉक्टर है. So I used to wonder, यार, I was in my 40s और मेरे को कभी आज तक ग्लूकोज की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी ना उसका है, ये क्या होता क्या है.
Hmm.
So that curiosity led me to understanding that, there's a lot of these people who are dahadi workers, daily wages.
Yeah.
They actually, whenever they're down, they can't miss a day's salary. So what the doctors, the local in the slums, they do, they put steroids.
Hmm.
So which makes them khokla from inside, and it's very, very harmful.
Yeah.
So once I understood that, then I wanted to do something in healthcare, which was on.
Hmm.
So that was something which I did. I also had a for-profit which did well, and but this completely flopped, did not do well. It was a technology platform that I was trying to create for primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare, and but so somewhere there was that, and then when I got a call from one of the consultants to actually join Magic Bus, I had not heard of them. I
Hmm.
don't know. My initial reaction was no, can't have NGO full time. But then I met Matthew Spacey, fantastic, lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
You've met him, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Really,
met
really
him about
fantastic
7 years
guy, right?
back.
More importantly than that, I went to see one of our programs.
Hmm.
Uh, so when I saw the program, I really liked it. I realized how some programs, experiential learning can change people, that also marginalized communities at the ground level.
Yeah.
So that got me interested, and then here I am now, 9+ years.
Wow.
And it's been a fantastic journey, even for myself also, because I've learned tremendously, much more than I learned in the 3 decades of my corporate career.
Hmm. So, one of the taglines that I read about Magic Bus, it says childhood to livelihood. So, tell us more about it. What exactly do you mean by childhood to livelihood? And Magic Bus has been working with Great Place to Work for many years and has been one of the best NGOs to work for the last 5 years consecutively. So, definitely you're doing a lot of things that are right, that are appreciated by your employees to tell you that you're a great employer. So how do you get that balance, of being an NGO but also be an employer of choice for your employees? But the first part I want to know from you, what exactly do you mean by childhood to livelihood?
Okay. So see, we do two programs. So
Hmm.
we do adolescent program and we do a livelihood program.
Okay.
It was not conceived as that. What we wanted to do was we wanted to hold the hand of every child from a marginalized community, get them through their school life, and be successful in their professional life, once they get into their work career, etc. Now, so what has happened is, because of, variety of reasons, what we do is we work with adolescent
Hmm.
children, age group of, 12 years onwards up to 18. And why we do this is because we used to work at the primary ages, which is
Hmm.
the primary classes,
Yeah.
5, 6,
Okay.
7, when the children get into school. But we've realized there's a good amount of enrollment, 99 to 100%. So the problem has shifted to the adolescent.
Okay.
So we work with these adolescent children, provide them with life skills so that they understand how to manage their personal lives, their school life, and subsequently their work
Hmm.
life.
Hmm.
So we work, hold their hands, we see that they complete school, they don't get married early, and then there are two exit paths. They can get into higher education or they can get
Okay.
into livelihoods.
Okay.
And then we run the livelihood program, which is probably one of the largest in the country and probably also in the world,
Wow.
where we actually this year will be training or skilling 3.5 lakh young people,
Okay.
and almost 80-85% will get into jobs. More importantly, 60% are girls. Placing girls
Wow.
is far more
Okay.
difficult. So
Okay.
it's inclusive growth.
Yeah.
So
3.5 lakhs is a huge number, and this is pan India.
this is pan India.
Okay.
But on the adolescent side, we'll have 40 lakh young adolescents will be part of our program this year.
Okay. So adolescent is basically the class 5 to class
Class
8.
6 to class.
Class.
This is where, see, we work with both boys and girls, but this
Yeah.
is the age where there are very high chances of children dropping off
Yeah.
because they can go and earn a salary.
Yeah.
They have to look after siblings. For girls, the school gets further away in rural areas.
Yeah.
There's no safe transport and a variety of reasons.
I think Magic Bus has been operating in India for I think more than 25 plus years now. And you said you were slightly reluctant when you first met Matthew if you wanted to join full time. So what was that moment that you said, after joining, of course, after you joined, you thought, no, yeah, this is where I want to be. And what I am doing, it's really, really making that difference into the lives of people.
Okay, what I want to tell you is something absolutely the opposite, okay?
बताइए.
So, 10 days into Magic Bus,
Hmm.
I realized, see, it was a good organization, it was
Yeah.
large. But what was happening is we did not have too much of technology.
Hmm.
And we realized that, a lot of stuff that we were saying and doing might not be happening on the ground.
Hmm.
So I said, maybe I got into the wrong place. I think I need to leave. So first 10 days, that was. So I was just trying to make up my, but one thing led to the other. See, the intent was very honest.
Yeah.
The people were really, really good. So then I just got into one thing after the other, and then I started realizing that, this kind of an organization needs more people like us, people who come on the other side. Not that, we know everything, because I've learned tremendously over here.
Yeah.
But because the systems, the processes, the understanding of technology that we bring in will really make a big difference. So I just really started enjoying what I was doing. And I can be very honest that, see, 30 years, what I learned over there, the way I've evolved, I think I've evolved much more in the last 10 years. The learning has been tremendous for me in terms of, doing new things, trying out new stuff. Because, see, there is no history, there's no precedent in the work that we do. These are generational, decades old problems which we are solving. And we are solving at scale with very frugal resources using technology. So that's what is really interesting, that, the scale, the use of technology, how we can lean on it to kind of really make a huge impact, and doing the work very honestly and credibly.
So you just said, your job placement rate is about 80 to 85%. If I may ask, what happens with the remaining 15 or 20% that is not able to secure a job?
See, the thing is that, some of them might just drop off. We try and see that, we counsel them, we get them back into something. Maybe post, we kind of, we take job placement as in the first 60 days, how many people get job after our training.
Yeah.
Those people could get, subsequently also they could get jobs somewhere, but we don't track them actually.
Got it. No, I think now I'll switch tracks now that you have also created a great place to work for your employees. How easy or difficult it is for an NGO to attract and retain talent?
Again, I'll start with a real life example, which was a challenge for us. So when I started in the year 2016, our employee net promoter score was minus 35.
Wow.
Which meant nobody was recommending. Our employees were not recommending us as a place to work. So it was a big challenge getting the right talent at that point in time. And also the question of affordability, our finances were not so strong. But I believe that, if you're doing some really good work, people are involved and they feel connected and valued. There's no, I can't say zero politics, but I try and do that zero politics. I think people start understanding what they're doing. And that kind of, once they're connected, hooked onto it, then I think one thing leads to the other. It has a positive cascade. It's not easy. But we really started focusing on the 4 P's, like I say. The first is people. The second is, our programs. The third is the process and the capacity that we're building. And the fourth are our partners. And we externally validate each one of them. And that is where Great Places comes. It's the really, really big, strong validation of our people. What are they feeling about the senior leadership team, the trust, the capacity that we are building, and everything, the whole environment around culture. So for us, we used to do this internal, our own anonymous survey. But still, people did not believe in it too much because it was end of the day managed by the management So when Great Places came, we thought it was a fantastic, because, you anonymously reach out to all our employees. And then, when people connect, in our case, I think 70%, which is a really strong connect, is what I understand, right? So when people are connecting on their own, of their own choice, and they are validating, whatever's happening. I think that's the biggest testament or validation of what you're doing. So, I'm getting an external validation of how we're doing
Yeah,
or how our people kind of, look at the organization. So that's the biggest validation. And that's where I find a lot of.
no, and I think one of the biggest strength that we enjoy at Great Place to Work is the trust of the employees. Because when they see a red box by Great Place to Work, they really feel, that they can share their feedback openly and honestly. And they know that their feedback will not be directly shared with anyone from the management. Of course, we share the aggregate scores. So that's a trust. It requires many years of work. So you just made a mention that you were at minus 35 NPS, and now you are one of the best employers when it comes to NGOs in India. So must have been a long journey and a fruitful journey, I must say, because of the kind of impact that you are creating. As a leader, when you are hiring talent, let's say for your own team, someone who has to work with you, report to you, what are some of the things that you look for in that individual when you're hiring someone, to work with you?
See, first is see, we work with two sets of, actually we work with many sets of people. But first, if you really look at it, there are people from the sector and the people from outside.
Hmm.
So when people from outside are there, we look for people who don't come with a chip on the shoulder. Typically, when corporate people come, they feel
Yeah.
they know everything
Yeah.
and they're going to teach something to. But
Yeah.
honestly speaking, we know very little. On the other side, when we come here, we learn much more.
Yeah.
So we're looking for people on the corporate side is without a chip on the shoulder, grounded, humble, and willing to learn.
Hmm.
So that's, and from the sector, obviously, we have some good people and not so great people like everywhere else,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
there. When we're looking at least for my immediate team, one thing which is very important for me is that, they should try and at least bring in some skill sets which are different from mine.
Hmm.
I also want an environment where people are also comfortable questioning me.
Hmm.
I'm answerable to them.
Yeah.
I want to have that very honest discussion with people. And when I talk about myself, I've actually worked on creating an image for myself, which is a very approachable image.
Hmm.
So when I look at, we play those games, where we say that, what kind of an animal you are. People say tiger,
Yeah.
elephant, eagle. I call myself a deer.
Hmm.
Nobody is scared of the deer.
Hmm.
Very approachable, but tenacious,
Yeah.
right? And swift and agile.
Hmm.
So that's the image that one's tried to create around yourself. So even if I'm working or something, if there's something important, people still walk into my room, and I'm okay with it, right?
Yeah.
It's a very informal environment, and as a boss, you get all the good news. Everybody comes and shares. Bad
Yeah.
news, nobody shares with
Yeah.
you. It's important to know the bad news because you need to act on that before you need to act on the
Exactly.
news.
Exactly.
So I think that's what we also. I believe in a zero politics environment. I would I try and see people. At least I don't do that, and I see that the teams below me directly reporting to me
Hmm.
also are in that environment.
Hmm. So if I were to ask you, what are the two or three major differences when you hired for roles in corporate and when you hire for people here? Anything that you are very, very conscious about? Once you said no chip on the shoulder. Anything else that you would want to add on to that?
See, it's far more difficult hiring for a NGO because
Okay.
obviously the remuneration,
Yeah.
the salary. So you also get sometimes, see, you might be very lucky, you'll get some good talent once in a while.
Hmm.
But a lot of times it's very difficult. Also in the sector, there's a dearth of talent.
Hmm.
So, and especially for organizations like ours, which are run like professional organizations,
Yeah.
technology, processes, etc. There are very few NGOs who actually understand technology,
Hmm.
systems, processes. And the scale that we are growing, when we have to hire, we find a really big challenge because we have to train our own people and
Yeah.
develop them. And we have our own internal learning development programs, etc. So a lot of
Yeah.
talent we have to grow within the organization.
Hmm.
It's very difficult to get. When the crossovers are there, people from the other side, then it's relatively easy. But then, we have those simple ground rules of hiring. So it's a challenge. Also, when you work in an NGO, you have different sections, I would say, different level of people or different people coming from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
the corporate side, you have people like you and me. Typically,
Yeah.
parents are educated. They've worked before.
Yeah.
You've gone to a good professional college. You
Yeah.
come join. So people understand what the environment is.
Yeah.
When we worked over here, we work with Generation Alpha, Gen Z, millennials, people like me, and a whole lot of, and even baby boomers. So we have a whole sector of them. The So we need to be able to kind of understand each group of person. The other is that, a lot of people on the ground are first time earners in their family. Nobody's earned before.
Yeah.
They don't understand the work ethos. They don't understand the culture.
Mm.
So you have to also inculcate that into them, induct them into it. So that's why it becomes far more challenging, as compared to a corporate over here. So I think, but that's tremendous learning and you really enjoy.
So, Jayant, what are some of the cultural programs that you run at Magic Bus, something that you yourself champion or the HR team champions, and that you think that makes you unique and not many others are doing something like that?
See, I personally believe in risk and innovation. So we are probably one of the few, or I don't know of any other company. So we run a award which is risk and innovation.
Risk and innovation.
I'm
Okay.
very happy for my people to fail, not fail at the same thing again and again,
Yeah.
but very happy for them to fail. I want them to learn because see, when you push yourself, there are very high chances that you fail, and you want people to push themselves. Otherwise, everybody does sandbagging, and
Yeah.
there's no improvement.
Yeah.
So we push ourselves, and we want to take those risks and do. And for me, innovation starts at the lowest level. Even the guy who's sweeping the floor, if he can do the sweeping, better sweeping with less number of strokes in a shorter time, that is also,
Yeah.
for me is innovation.
Yeah.
So we try and encourage that kind of innovation right grounds up.
Mm.
I won't say that we've been very successful, but we have a CEO circle, which is actually now next week,
Okay.
where we get all the top people who are top performers, get them. The senior leadership are the hosts, and they are the guests. And we treat them like royalty, and they have a good time, recognize them, give them certain awards, etc., etc. So we have these kind of things where we are trying to create meritocracy, also create a culture where there's honesty. We've created. See, people like to do honest work, but you still need a checking mechanism. Maker checker कि बस काम honestly हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. So we've created tech solutions like fraud prevention detection, which keeps auditing our data, doing data triangulation to see what we are reporting, what we are doing is accurate or not. So that's first of its kind for any NGO. So we do a lot of these things, which also kind of I think the amount of learning which people get, what they're seeing, the agility of the organization working at a huge scale. I think that motivates people, when they're doing some good work. I think it really, really connects the people. So
most of the CEOs have a way of measuring things like, there are so many initiatives and you can't track everything. Like you spoke about risk and innovation. So is there some KPI that you track on a more regular basis and something that it keeps you on top of? It can be your people sentiment, it can be your NPS score, but what are some of the things that you track yourself?
See, firstly, I spoke about the 4 P's.
Yeah,
These are very
4 Ps.
close to me.
Hanji.
And wherever I go, I kind of, carry them with me. So on the people front, I said it's great places to work, which is the
Yes.
validation.
Yeah.
On the programmatic front, we face close to 70 or different audits because, the KPMG is the Deloitte's, the ENY, Satwas, they actually audit us because this is the government mandate for CSR
Yeah.
programs. So we get a financial audit, a social audit. So come out with flying colors, which tells me that my programs are running well. And besides, what the funders talk about us. The third is in terms of process, we have KPMG as the auditors. We do an internal IFC. We do have internal audit through PwC. So we do all that to kind of
Okay.
keep us honest, healthy, check, and then the FPD and those things, fraud prevention detection.
Yeah.
The last one is partners. On the partners front, we do our own internal survey.
Okay.
Again, anonymous.
Yeah.
With the partners rate what they feel about us, which are funder partners predominantly.
Yeah.
So our last funder partner survey actually gave us an NPS of north of 90%, which is a good score. That means 95% of my funders are happy to recommend and promote us to other funders. So I think that's the greatest validation. So that is one thing. Other than that, see, we have we are a huge operation, right? 40 lakh people every week, classes being held, some classes getting cancelled. So how do you reschedule those classes? Each batch is 25,000, 25, the group of children. So imagine the number of batches we would be having every day.
Wow.
And then, you have to. So we run a very massive operation, where we have developed our own tools. There's a tool called OSS,
Okay.
which actually looks at every single metrics, and we built it, grounds up now. So I have the dashboard at a very high level where I'm looking at, the child level tracking as to how many children have attended our sessions. So we have that level of tracking for the children on the programmatic front. We have FutureX, the technology platform, which is talking about skilling and livelihood. So you look at how many people placed, how many girls have come in, how's the mobilization. So you have to create those batches before that. Then looking at employers tying up and picking up those. So that's a massive scale of operation that we do, and we look at all the key indexed parameters. What I have done is I call it my Bible. The very high level, I have the headlines, and I
Yeah.
can drill down into any level that I need to. So, so those are things. Then you have to look at your funder health, your pipeline of funders, financials. So I think these are the 2 3 metrics which are there, which we really.
The scale is mesmerizing. 40 lakh adolescent students. Wow. So, if I were to ask you, Jayant, like you work with 40 lakh here on this side, 3.5 lakh on the other side, what do you see as some of the biggest capability gaps in the youth in India, from the work that you have been doing?
See, when you look at India as a whole,
Yeah.
the biggest problem that the country has, and there's a lot of things which are going for it, and I'll speak about that.
Hanji.
But the biggest problem that the country has is, if you really ask me, is education, livelihoods. Then we talk about, our agricultural productivity and healthcare. So if I think, these four things, if we can solve for, I think, we will, I'm sure, it'll really help us greatly. 2 of these problems, which are education and livelihoods, is what we work on. And that is what we work at a really, really huge scale. I'm sorry, what was the question? I forgot.
It's basically, what is the biggest capability gap?
Yeah. Correct. So now, see, when we talk about livelihoods, so if you look at it, it's in the public domain that more than 50% of our graduates are unemployable. So they don't have employability skills. The second problem that we have is the number of people who are coming into jobs and the number of jobs that are being created are far lower.
Yeah.
With AI, it's supposed to slow down even further.
Yeah.
The third is that our labor force participation for females is very low, it's much, much lower than the international averages. We need a 70% female workforce participation for inclusive growth and to become a $30 trillion economy by 2047. Now, when we look at all these things put together, what does it mean? It means that, there are people who are dropping off at the adolescent ages.
Yeah.
And they're just getting off the pipeline. Then we call it NEET, not in education, employment, or training. So there are 120 million odd people who kind of dropped off that. So we need to see that they get back on the radar, they get into that pipeline. So that's one of the big gaps that, children dropping off from senior primary to higher secondary. In some of the districts, it's as high as 40%. So we try and bridge that. The second is that, when you talk about on the skilling side, see, there are jobs, but people don't find, there are few jobs, but when the jobs are also there, they don't find people who are employable because I told you more than 50% of our graduates. So we make them employable. So that's the other thing that we do at a very, very huge scale, making them employable, seeing them get into jobs. Our idea is that we build sustainability into them with life skills so that they are successful in whatever environment they are.
Yeah. No, today I know another full form of NEET, not in education, employment, or training. But what is the role that corporates or government partnerships can play in addressing some of the gaps, and what is some of the work that you are doing with them?
The NGOs bring the domain skill, at least for the sector, and the government brings the scale. So when NGOs work with government, they can really work at a very, very large scale. So it's required.
Yeah.
Now, when you work with the government, is the body which decides in terms of the policy, advocacy, etc. So when we will build enough evidence as the development sector, we take it to the government and government change the policies. They can bring in those changes. And that is something that we are trying to do at a huge scale. We're trying to bring the systemic change where if you ask me, we should not be doing any projects. Once we brought it, transferred to the government is taking everything on their own. That's the ideal situation. So systemic change is where I think the government comes in terms of, bringing in the right policies, obviously supported by evidence and impact. And the private sector can bring in the technology, the money, the funding to help, take these things ahead. Besides that, the private sector is also great, test bed for employment, giving people chances to kind of intern, work, learn what a work environment is like.
I want to ask you a question which is not in the list that I have, and How do you see AI impacting your work or the job employment that you're trying to create? And what are some of the risks and how do you plan to cater to that risk?
Really good question. This is very close to my heart. And in
Mm.
fact, just before this, we had a AI workshop. We got uh, some diggers to come and kind of, discuss that with us. And we're
Yeah.
putting a strategy together. We've taken a leadership position on AI. So
Okay.
just when it started, we started doing it. So there are a lot of, so I look at it as two sections. One is internally within the organization,
Mm.
efficiencies, making things life
Yeah.
simpler, etc. So we've done a whole lot of stuff which is around that. The second is taking to our beneficiaries or our
Mm.
participants. So we were the first NGO, and I say this with a lot of sense of pride because you've not asked me that question, but I still want to
Yeah.
answer it. Last year we did 35,000 people we trained on AI.
Wow.
This year we'll do 1.5 lakhs out of the 3.5 lakh youth. We'll train
Okay.
on AI, putting them into jobs, seeing that they have far more
Yeah.
robustness,
Yeah.
stability, longevity in the jobs. See, there is no doubt that AI is very disruptive.
Mm.
See, technology is a great enabler and it's also a great leveler. Now, I would say that we have to embrace technology as long as it's working for us. If it doesn't work for us, we need to then move to the next thing which is working. Now, there are a lot of questions around AI. Is it disruptive? Absolutely, yes, no doubt. But I think the questions which you must be also, hearing in the West that, the whole US economy is around this AI bubble.
Yeah.
People have invested. I think 60% of the US people's investments are in stocks.
Yeah.
And if this bubble bursts, then you know what is going to happen to them and all those kind of things
Yeah.
which we keep kind of reading and kind of hearing about. So now, see, our objective is to look at what is it that the technology can do for us? How does it help us reach every nook and corner?
Mm.
How does it help us reach the marginalized, give them better learning, better training?
Mm.
That is our thing. Now, whichever technology helps us, we will lean on it, leverage it, and do
Yeah.
that. So I see AI as one such technology which is helping us do it as of now.
Mm.
If it stays, obviously, it will. But what it is doing is, see, there is no doubt that it is reducing the number of jobs which are
Yeah.
coming up. Now, I'm sure a lot of tech leaders say there are new jobs coming up, etc. I hope they come
Yeah.
and they change. But I think it is going to be far more different from what it is.
Mm.
But I also feel that, see, the world is also, finds its own balance. So if you look at, when the calculator came out in the 60s, people said that this was the end of
Yeah.
accountants. But look at it, how it has evolved.
Yeah.
When the digital camera came out, they said this was the end of photographers. But look how the whole market has evolved, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure the world will find its balance.
Yeah.
We will find something. But as of now, obviously, we need to be ready for it. We need to be prepared. And we need to get more and more people. And I think it's a great opportunity for a country like India, where, it's a huge country and there is not equal access to people.
Mm.
That this technology actually provides the best of learning to the person in the remotest of corners. And so, if you look at the IITs, IIMs, or any of these
Yeah.
top premier colleges worldwide, there are less than 2% people who make it to these colleges. Are they not smart? Are they not intelligent? They don't get the same opportunities as people
Yeah.
from, privileged families. So AI will help bridge that gap.
Mhm.
AI can get the best of learnings to anyone. And I feel that is a big game changer. And we are betting on that. And we've developed some tools and
Okay.
which help us kind of, really take it across
So,
geographies.
when we've been speaking about AI, we have been speaking of technology, but how can India become a global leader when it comes to social innovation, which is not just tech, not just AI, but a lot more. So, any thoughts you have on that?
See, I think one is that, if you have to become a global leader, you need to invest in it.
Hmm.
Our R&D spends, unfortunately, are still one of the lowest. In fact, I was seeing a news article or reading somewhere that, our R&D spends have actually become lower now. So I think, and see what is happening, a lot of technology, hardcore real work is happening in these AI. So I think the lead has been taken by US and China.
Hmm.
We still need to catch up, but I feel that there's a lot of, I would say, see, if you look at, we are a confluence of a lot of positive things, good governance,
Yeah.
and stability in policy, fastest growing economy, and a very young demographic,
Hmm.
remarkable age people.
Yeah.
So I think these three things are really, really big. And combined with that, we are the IT hub of the world.
Hmm.
We do understand technology. And we also produce a maximum number of, engineering graduates. So I think if you put all this together, And I think, do some really intelligent thinking and working and strategizing. I think, we are in strong. And this is what the government has started doing. Government is really working hard in terms of, putting things right. They have they're thinking of a global skilling hub because we can be net suppliers of, trained manpower to the world. Now, with whatever's happening now around the world, obviously
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a slowdown. But I think it should pick up again, once things stabilize. And the government's really, kudos to the government. They've done some really fantastic work with a lot of intent to, build some of these assets.
So, couple of last questions, Jayant. What would be your advice to leaders who are genuinely interested in making a social impact? You started your journey a few years back. So, if someone were to start their journey today, what would you advise that person?
When you say journey, people from the sector or outside the sector?
Anyone, I think more from outside the sector, I would say.
See, I would, for people from outside the sector, I would say that, when you come over here, please come with, without a chip on the shoulder, because you learn much more. The second thing, which I personally, and obviously I can't hold others to it, I feel that, the minute you say that you're giving back,
Yeah.
means your hand is on top of the other person. So
Yeah.
then, you're trying to control things.
Mm,
So, when you're coming here, you can't come with that attitude that I'm giving back.
giving back. Yeah.
You have to come with that attitude that I'm learning, I'm doing something, I'm learning, I'm developing myself, while at the same time, there's some good, whatever I know, I'm bringing that to the. So that's very important. I would say
Mm,
that, don't come with that feeling that I'm giving back. To people from the sector, I would say that, accountability, ownership of your outcomes
mm,
is very important. You have to deliver on what you promise.
yeah.
I call it, I tell my teams, this is taxpayers' money.
Mm,
If we cannot do a good job, let some other NGO who can do it take it.
yeah.
So for us, that is very important. And that's the reason we build those assets, around fraud prevention detection, metal scorecards, a whole lot of them, to see that when we say something, we actually do it.
Mm, absolutely.
So I would say that, let's be honest about, delivering what we have to.
Okay, great. What are some of the initiatives that NGOs as a body can drive? Everybody has their own charter, but what are some of the initiatives that can be driven at a much larger scale if NGOs body were to decide something?
See, I would say a lot of NGOs are doing some phenomenal work on the
Mm,
ground. But what is happening is there's very little collaboration between the different NGOs.
mm,
So, 1 + 1 + 1 is equal to 2.5 or 3 only.
yeah,
But if they can come together as a collective, this thing, where they're sharing ideas, they're working together, I think that 1 + 1 could be 11 or 30 or whatever it could
yeah,
be. So I think that collaboration is very important. The other thing which sometimes really troubles me is that, a corporate funding is typically, close to a city or some of the,
yeah.
my factory is here, so do it over here.
Mm,
So as a result, what happens is there are 500, 600 large funders in the country. So most of the NGOs are working in the main cities only.
mm,
So कोई वाटर कर रहा है, कोई स्कूल कर रहा है, स्कूल में भी 4-4, 5-5 लोग काम कर रहे हैं, फिर कोई, so everything is in and around that.
mm,
So there is overlap,
yeah,
and there's too much of, within. We would really love to go to a needy areas. We in fact put our own monies, we go to the tribal districts.
okay.
We go to the aspirational blocks, which are the most needy.
Mm,
We put our own money because we don't get funding for those.
mm,
So in fact, 30% of India's aspirational blocks, we put our own money and we actually go and work over there because
okay.
we want to do that. So I would love to see that, more and more people are actually doing where the real need is. I'm not saying that the need is not here, but I'm saying between the two, where the real need is. We would love to see that
Okay.
happening more and more. And I feel there's a lot of scope if I think, we can come together as NGOs, share. There's a lot more that we can achieve together.
Okay. Great. Absolutely. Thank you, Jayant. And before I let you go, I wanted to do a quick rapid fire with you.
Okay.
And one word or a short one sentence answer only,
I'll try.
even if you feel the need for giving a longish answer. So, one book that changed your perspective.
Okay, short answer. There's one book, Elephants Can Dance.
Hmm.
Louis Gessner, this is the IBM, he used to be the head IBM.
Yeah, yeah.
I've always believed in this because it tells us, it is not just expectations, it's also inspection which gets you there. And I believed in this philosophy right from my, corporate days, because if you don't check what you are doing,
Hmm.
you will never get there. You have to, and that's the only time when you
Hmm.
can add value.
Okay. One myth about leading NGOs.
Life is easy. It's the second phase of your life. If you want to lead a retired life, get there.
One thing that keeps you grounded.
My wife, she can get me to the ground just flat few seconds.
Uh, I think I know the answer to this one, but one tech trend that NGOs must embrace.
See, right now it is AI,
Yeah.
but I would say whatever is leading at that point in time, one should embrace that. Absolutely. Brings in high governance,
Hmm.
transparency, accountability.
One quality that makes a great team.
I see the biggest thing, if you ask me, is zero politics. But there's not one thing which is there, as you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
are multiple of them, but I think the other is that commitment, alignment to the cause.
Your prediction for the social sector in the next 10 to 15 years in India.
See, very difficult question. Okay. My sense is that we should meet our SDG
Hmm.
goals
Yeah.
and a lot more collaboration. Technology being there to help. I think see, one dream that I've had for a very long time is you spoke about NGOs coming together. See, there has to be proper tracking and measurement of what everybody does. Without measurement, there's no accountability.
Yeah.
I would love to see if we can take, what Akshay Patra is doing, what Magic Bus is
Hmm.
doing, what somebody else is doing. If we look at the whole outcome of all these things, and it could be very transparently kind of, picked up, captured. And the government has to put this in place because an NGO does it, other NGOs will not trust.
Yeah, yeah.
So if they can put something like that, then I think it'll the collective, what works, what doesn't work, the evidence for policy change. I think it'll be a fantastic tool. So I
And the
think
last
that's
one, if you had unlimited resources, what's that first initiative that you would really, really go hard after?
as of now, I would love to put a mobile and internet connection in the hand of every marginalized.
Hmm.
I think it's a great opportunity for people to learn and make the best for themselves.
Thank you. Absolutely amazing conversation with you, Jayant. Thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for all the honest answers that you gave. And pleasure. Thank you.
Delight.